Good morning and welcome to this latest edition of the Chiswick Coffee Break. Today, my guest is Donna Schoenherr. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning.
Let me tell you something, a very impressive bio about Donna. Donna is another native New Yorker, hooray. Starting out with the Festival Ballet of New York, she did her formative training at the prestigious Botsford School in Rochester. She went on to dance with the Cleveland Ballet and Michael Mao Dance Company, amongst others, and then on to train, dance, choreograph, and teach across the globe before settling here in West London. After the birth of her son, Donna founded Ballet for Life, which she set up in 2004 as one of the first organizations to provide adult learners in London with comprehensive programs of high-quality ballet and dance courses. 18 years later, Ballet for Life is a well-established and thriving institution with daily classes both online and in person, and has delivered dance to thousands of Londoners. In 2015, she launched Move Into Wellbeing, a dance program for people living with Parkinson's and other mobility restrictions. Move Into Wellbeing was inspired by Donna's father, Gerald E. Schoenherr, who lived with Parkinson's for 30 years and who she saw benefit hugely from music and movement-based therapy. This registered charity brings joy and relief to hundreds each week, with classes in over 8 venues and also online. Donna and her husband have resided in West London for 26 years, and she's the proud mum to their son, who is now studying hard at Imperial College of London. And if that wasn't enough, Donna is also a gifted and accomplished photographer, artist, and former model too. So with that illustrious, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. Welcome, Donna, and thanks so much for doing this with me today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great, simple question. What made you find West London and Chiswick? What made you come here?
I love this story. I love to tell it. We were being relocated by an agency for my husband's work. He got a job with an American firm that was based in London. We had a fancy relocation agency. We owned nothing. We had a big truck come and we had like a couple little pieces in it, and it brought us to London. And then for 1 week, I was taken around and serenaded in Zone 1. And I was like, oh, ugh. Where do the artists live? Where do the creative people live? The media, the actors. And they were like, we're not allowed to take you out of Zone 1. And I was like, please, please, please. By the 5th day, I only had 5 days. The 5th day, they were like, okay, we're not supposed to. And they got on the A4 and we arrived in Chiswick. And we arrived, actually, they took me through Old Chiswick first, then over to the high road. And I don't know. I just said, this is it. This is the place. It was something very comfortable. I just visually thought it was stunning. And maybe I was thinking, made me think of upstate New York villages because of the English settlers settling. I don't know. So that was it. And then we got a flat here. Never left.
You're not the first person who said that they get a feeling when they come into Chiswick for the first time. And then people returning. I also have friends who lived here and moved away. When they come back, they feel, oh, it's still home. It's still, it's that kind of a feeling.
A very deep connection. I thankfully it was here because it's quite a nice place to land.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to meet you too.
Yes.
We said Ballet for Life and Move Into Wellbeing operates a number of classes across Hounslow and West London, but some of the venues that you actually hold classes in.
Yeah, the really lovely variety. So we've been for 18 years at Arts Educational School on Bath Road. And we've gone through all their different developments and changes, but always had 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 classes running there. We also have used and are back using the Francis Lundy School of Dance, which is the Hayloft. It's on that little street called Bond Street behind Marks and Spencer.
Yeah.
So that's a lovely space. It's very intimate and cozy. ArtSet obviously is very large, state-of-the-art, well-equipped dance studios. For Move Into Wellbeing, we have the Musical Museum in Brentford, which is part of the Hounslow Seniors Trust program. And as part of Thriving Communities funding from London Borough of Hounslow, we have a class at the Chiswick Catholic Centre. And when we're really lucky, we get the large hall, and then otherwise we're in the smaller room. But it's a lovely place. It's so well located, and everyone can just zip in there and zip out, and they go out for coffee and stuff. And then we also have classes up the road, Southfield Road, at the Hall of St. Peter's Church, which at some point was made into a dance studio because it accommodated the musical theater students of ArtSet on a 3-year degree program, and we kind of inherited it. And now it's transformed again into a nursery, but we're there on Saturdays for Ballet for Life and Move Into Wellbeing.
Well, I mean, we have some wonderful venues, and it's amazing that you take such great advantage of them. So, and the musical museum is really interesting.
Yeah, people haven't gone there. I highly recommend going there. Just it's such it's a collection of curiosities, and if you have any interest in music at all, it's an extra special to and the Wurlitzer organ that sits there. It's incredible.
Do they still do the tea dances there?
They do. They had suspended them during the COVID periods. They started back. I think they're going successfully. I've never been to one. I really should go to one.
No, maybe try that together. I'd like
that could be fun.
Yeah. I worked with both the Bedford Park Festival and the Chiswick Book Festival, etc., that you're a huge supporter of them, which is greatly appreciated. But what makes you want to get involved into community events in Chiswick?
I feel very strongly about a sense of civic pride and civic duty, a sense of responsibility to the community one lives in. I think it's just ingrained in me from my upbringing and the kind of background I have. I could never run these two organizations without contributing to the local community and the greater community. It just feels like it's the right thing to do. It gives me great pleasure and joy. I meet wonderful people. I like that I can give something that might be useful or helpful. So there would be no way I would not do that unless I moved or retired or something. But I probably still would do something anyway.
They're wonderful community events, and it's amazing, and they're better because of supporters like you. So it's great.
It enriches this community, and it's growing and growing. Now we've got the film thing coming next, and it's so wonderful. So much to tap into.
Chiswick and film, that's a really nice thing to do, and I could see that one growing and growing, that festival. Amazing. So what are the future plans for either or both Ballet for Life and Move Into Wellbeing?
Some creative projects. We're going to have a choreographic contest for Ballet for Life coming up, and that will be encouraging anyone who wants to play around with dance and movement and music. And it doesn't have to be anything polished, it just can be anything an individual or a group wants to get together to choreograph, film it. They'll send it in, we'll shortlist, and then we want to present the shortlist at a little performance, a little informal showcase. It's just when we did our last fundraiser at Waterman's, a dance showcase, the participants were so inspired by learning choreography. I just saw how it changed them and how they grew. And I thought, well, let's hand it over to them and let them play around a bit. So that's one big project coming up. I want to create a piece on my 50 plus gals, because I haven't done that for years. I'd done that for the Bedford Park Festival years ago. And I have some ideas clicking away. And then we have a project for the Move Into Wellbeing participants to be in some sort of creative project. It's at the very beginning stages, but it will be something with music and movement. I'm not sure if we'll film it or if it will just be shown to a small group of invited guests. Because again, that's really, really wonderful for the participants to have something other than the classwork and curriculum, but to have more of an imagination and creative side of things. It helps the neural pathways very much and helps obviously the moods. And then the last thing I could think of is we used to work in the schools a lot, and then for different reasons in COVID, those projects stopped. But we've been invited to go back and do a school, not quite in Chiswick, but in Fulham, and do an introduction to dance for that school. So I'm working on those plans right now with the woman in charge of that who did the fundraising to get a little pocket in the budget for us. So kind of a lot of different little things, but all quite exciting, I think.
Yeah. Very exciting. I love seeing your paintings behind you, by the way.
Thank you.
They're gorgeous. A woman of so many talents. It's amazing. I have one final question I always end my coffee breaks with. And what's your favorite place in Chiswick?
Yeah, that was a hard one. I have two, but I'm going to give the first one. I would have to say Chiswick House and Gardens, because when we first lived here, we lived at Heathfield Court. And we used to go like many times a week for long strolls. And then in the nice weather months, we used to bring a little picnic to the Italian gardens in front of the conservatory on a little blanket. And it was very romantic and very, oh my gosh, look at where we live. Then when we had our son, we were there like every week with him, with our play groups. And the old math calf and running around and petting the dogs and playing ball and climbing the trees. So it's like it's kind of served, and then they, we grew up, and then we went and did little walks and had coffees, and then became members of the friends, and so it's just kind of, it's so beautiful, it's so inspiring. It never fails to be a wonderful place for us to go and have a stroll. Sometimes I meet my girlfriends and we go around and have a coffee, and it just feels very like that's one of my places, my go-to places.
It's amazing how many people have said Chiswick House at the end here.
We're so lucky to have it, right?
We are. But you said another one?
Well, the walks along the Thames, Strand on the Green, and then the mall going up. Thousands of walks along there, watching the tide, watching people, watching the birds, sitting at a pub, doing the loop. Just also so many memories with children, friends from school, parents, neighbor, and it's always different, and it's always fun, and you always see something and have a little laugh, and it's just visually so beautiful, that area, between Kew Bridge and Hammersmith Bridge, and the sunsets and people.
And the sunsets, and then the tides come up and go down and stuff. This is different.
You never get bored, right?
No, absolutely. We're just lucky to live in Chiswick. That's why I do this. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I really enjoyed our conversation.
My pleasure.
It's lovely to talk to another native New Yorker. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And I want to thank everybody for joining us again today, and join us soon for another Chiswick Coffee Break.